Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everybody. There's something that many of us, if not all of us, do at some point in our lives. It comes down to one word, but it's interesting when you process this word and think of different situations, you see how this word comes into play very often. The word is denial. You've heard the phrase, they're in denial. I'm in denial. It's avoidance. It's hiding things. We're going to look at that and through many different angles. And that's the beauty of what she does. She gives us the opportunity as an amazing psychotherapist to see things that we didn't see and kind of process it and move our lives forward. She works with anybody from adults to couples to teens to children. She is Susie Engel. She's back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Steve. How are you?
Really, really good. And this is what we're talking about here today is kind of fundamental because I think we've all been in denial. Let's define that. How do you define the word denial?
I would say the inability to view something honestly, truthfully, bare bones, and the ability, like when our minds play play tricks on us, the ability to distort things or minimize things or avoid things.
That's the word that I come up with. It's avoidance. You don't want to deal with it. You're burying it. You just don't want to face it. Like if you need to talk with somebody, you're avoiding it for a reason, and essentially you're in denial. So it's almost like it didn't happen. I'm just going to throw it in the back of my mind. I'm not going to even deal with it. But it's very bad to do that, isn't it? Where you're not moving through emotions, you're just burying them inside.
Well, it's maladaptive. So when somebody unconsciously avoids things, even if there's some sort of rationale, there's a reason for it. We say that often, but usually the reason isn't a good reason. Usually it's an excuse, or we talk a lot, especially the two of us, about fear,
Yep.
Preventing people from just dealing with things head on. And for me, denial, it's interesting because denial becomes a technique for people. It becomes an adaptation, but I'm going to use the word maladaptation because people adjust to denial, but it doesn't serve them well, especially in the long run. And my problem is, it seems to be a common theme this week with a lot of their clients of all ages, even the little children or the adults, that when people in our lives are in denial, it gives us a feeling of lack of trust, or us a feeling of insecurity that's a little difficult to pinpoint when you're in the middle or in the moment of it. And I'm talking about other people being in denial. It kind of gives, if we're the recipient of somebody else being in denial, it's like nervous system to nervous system creates an uncomfortable feeling within us, the receptors, the receivers. And I don't like it. And I don't like it for my clients.
I never even thought of it that way. I'm thinking of us being in denial, but when others are in denial, I mean, certainly in your situation where you're trying to help somebody, but they're avoiding the situation, there's only so much that you as a psychotherapist can do.
No, we can do a lot though. Like, it's incredible, and it's not our job to do. All we have to do is get the client set up. But my empathy lies with all these clients who describe this discomfort with other people in their lives, and they can't really pinpoint it until they can. And when they can say, gee, I think this person has just been so steeped in avoidance that they're never straight up. And that's like it's almost like somebody's keeping a secret or hiding. And I know it's not always intentional, but
Hmm.
it doesn't feel good for us.
Right. Hmm. Um, let's talk about the reasons for. One of them was fear. You identified that, right?
Mhm.
What are the other reasons for avoidance or denial?
Well, I mean, I think that, and this comes up often, and I think this will probably bring us to another avenue of conversation. I think that sometimes people, almost in a dissociative way, but, dissociation is a spectrum. So don't get all alarmed. We're not talking about, you know, the movies. We're talking about real life,
Yep,
how
yep, yep,
people
yep.
are. Okay. There's structures in our brain that protect us. So if somebody is maybe somebody historically has had a difficult experience with confrontation. You and I have spoken briefly about this from time to time,
Sure.
confrontation. And maybe the confrontation as a youngster was overwhelming, or even as an adult was overwhelming. And note to self, ooh, I don't like that. And there's a flip in our brain that helps us avoid it. And so then when we want to be honest about something, there's a defense in our brain that kind of prevents us from just dealing with things head on. And confrontation, I think, is a big reason why. And I don't know what the big boogeyman is about confrontation, because confrontation doesn't mean aggression, it doesn't mean argument, it doesn't mean anything but having a straightforward, honest conversation. And I think people are so uncomfortable.
I get it. I understand it. And, many of us say, I just I don't like confrontation. Who does? Does anybody say, yeah, it's great. I can't bring them on. That's going to be fun. Um, how do we get over that? How do we, let's say we're in denial of a situation because we're avoiding talking to somebody because I use because a lot, because we know it's going to be uncomfortable.
Yes, and that's a good contributing factor for avoidance or denial. I mean, there's also another big one called shame. Like, what if it's
Mm,
embarrassing for us or shameful? I mean, embarrassing is like very low level compared to shaming, but somebody may have some built-in value system that didn't even come from ourselves. It may have come from other people in our lives passing judgment on us. And that plays a huge part of denial. So it's hard for me to say, yeah, I really made a huge mistake, or that was a huge failure of mine. And in the process of this failure, I hurt other people. A lot of people just cannot sit with that, be with that, or admit that. And I'm sorry for that, but I also feel like, what are people supposed to do? They should face things head on and realize it's not as bad as you are anticipating it to be.
ooh,
Pop the
ooh,
bubble.
ooh, 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 ooh. There's okay. So that goes back to fear. And I think that goes back to that stat we talked about a long time ago. It always comes up. Like every year, every couple of years, they do a little poll, and it's roughly 91% of the things that we worry about never transpire. So if you use that here in this instance, I need to talk with them. It's uncomfortable. I'm in denial. I'm just I don't want to even think about it. I'm denying it. Um, you're thinking what the outcome is going to be in that conversation. Maybe it's not going to be as bad as you thought. Maybe they might appreciate you ignoring the elephant in the room and bringing up the conversation.
And we could substitute most likely. And most likely it won't be as bad as we anticipate. Most likely it will be uh, a manageable
Mm,
conversation. I mean,
mm.
a conversation is not a confrontation. So I don't get all this confrontation buildup stuff. But I mean, that's my trying to get a message across.
Okay, well then, all right. Confrontation. We use that. Oh, I'm afraid of confrontation. Not judging anybody. I get it. How do you
Conversation.
how do we define confrontation?
I don't know, because what I believe is confrontation may be very different from what you believe is confrontation. I mean, maybe
I'm going to
uh,
take this. I'm right now. I'm putting a microscope on this. We use these terms. Let's blow this up for a second. When you're afraid of confrontation, let's say there's somebody that runs a little hot, and you are avoiding, in denial of connecting with them on a situation because they might be louder than others. They might be a little more aggressive in
bigger.
the way they talk and all of that. I guess that's a confrontation. But it goes back to what you said.
Or,
It's a conversation.
yeah, I mean, if I
Hmm.
say I know this person has this is the way I would word this description of the person you're describing.
Sure, sure.
I would describe this person as having difficulties coping with something he or she doesn't want to hear. And that is not my problem. And so for me, that's not a confrontation. For me, it's just, oh, I'm not going to be surprised by this person's reaction, not response, by the way, because this person struggles to cope. And that's not my problem. That doesn't mean I need to be in denial or avoid a conversation that has to happen or needs to happen, or for my health needs to happen. Or what if it's a teenager and wants to ask their first boss for a raise? If the teenager is already influenced, that it could be a challenge, or the person could challenge the teenager, that teenager has already had a history of, when I'm dealing with authority, it doesn't work out. But that doesn't mean that we can't mature around that or evolve around that and really face what we need to face in life. I mean, I want to go back to the original, though. The original premise for me today, which is just a tiny scope of denial, is when, if you think about families, all families have stuff. But if parents are in denial that one child is making its way by whether bullying or tantruming or whatever this is, if the family can't take hold of this, not control everybody, because that's not the goal, but can't manage this, then the family develops a denial about this one person in the family that's caused a problem. And then as that person matures, they're more and more emboldened to bully or be aggressive in conversations and be confrontational and scare everybody to get everybody to comply with them. And for me, that original denial of a problem in a family creates distrust.
Hmm. Well, I see something else here too.
What do you see?
The person that, and we're just focusing on a hypothetical, but the person
Yes.
that we feel is confrontational, and others may agree. They may say, "Yeah, Mike is oof. Yeah, when you get him going, it's like I don't want to talk to him either." You're allowing that person to steal your
Yes.
power. That's your
Yes. And
perception
that's
of them.
beautiful. So that is the problem with denial. Because if we bury things, if we avoid things, we're giving up our own empowerment and our own sense of agency for somebody who's like masked and just has a persona.
It's made up.
It's
Even if it's not somebody that's confrontational, even if it's a situation where you're involved with somebody else in it could be business, it doesn't matter what it is, but you're denying the conversation you need to have with them. Let's say you partnered with somebody and 6 months have gone by. You're feeling it. This is not working out for me. And maybe they're okay with it, but and you probably knew it from the beginning. You were just
give it a go.
or in denial.
Or in denial.
But wait a minute. What were you denying in the beginning? You probably were denying your intuition because something was saying, I don't know, but let's just keep going with this. Let's say, bet the ship sailed. You're in it. Now you're 6 months in. This is not feeling right. Doesn't align with you, your values, what your vision was. But it's uncomfortable to bring it up because you've come this far with that person. And it's just, it's going to be, I got to get to it. But guess what? You're not honoring yourself. You're just prolonging all of that. And I understand. I'm seeing this in my world. I don't deny things anymore. I just get to it. Let's get to it. And it's based on experience. Really, it's based on learning.
You've worked through a lot, right? Throughout your own life process, well before we ever met. But this is the deal. You said something important. You said when somebody at the get-go doesn't trust their gut or their instinct or their intuition or whatever that is.
Sure.
And to me, that comes back to the beginning of this conversation in an interesting way, because if we have already been exposed to people in denial and feel this confusion within us, it is creating distrust. And sometimes that interferes with our own trusting of ourselves. And that's a huge problem. Huge problem. If we don't trust ourselves, and I'm not, I'm just saying that from infancy throughout the lifespan, it's a process of knowing ourselves and learning about ourselves and trusting ourselves. But if that continuously gets interrupted, my relationship with myself gets interrupted, we have a big mess. And then, it's reparable because we can come to therapy, we can discuss things openly with people and learn from the people in our discussions. So
I've encountered this situation last week where, and this was the learning process, things I did last year, a couple of side, adventures and things like that. I let them go. I let time go by because I was uncomfortable. I was avoiding it, denying it. I was like, and eventually it's just like, all right, I gotta say something. And I made those changes in these business situations. I started another one with somebody recently, and in 2 weeks, this is not working. This is not the way we thought it was going to go. They agreed. But I stood up and I said, no, we're going to make the change right now. But it was only 2 weeks in. It wasn't, 2 years or 8 months or whatever. And it was just jump right in. Yeah. Because why waste time if it doesn't align with you? Honor thyself, honor what's coming up for you. Because if you don't, it's just going to eat at you inside, over time.
For sure. I mean, there's no benefit to it. No. And trust yourself. It's okay. I mean, we're talking about relationships too. Sure. If there's a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship with a teenager, I love it when some of the teenagers, whether they're boys or girls, whatever their sexual orientation is, when they come in after weeks and weeks of describing how unhappy they are or how uncomfortable they are with this person, and they make a decision to break up. Well, a couple weeks later, they may decide to go back with this person, and we have a discussion. If you see the same things, if you feel the same things, if you notice within your body the same things that prompted you to break up and make this decision to begin with, then you'll know a lot faster. But you want to give it another chance? Go ahead. Give it a go. It's not my place to tell people who to break up with and who to get up, make up with or whatever. But if a client decides that, then, but you figured it out in 2 weeks. And it doesn't matter if the other person agrees or disagrees. It matters what your sensibility is about this situation.
But it comes back to oneself. Like, it's just like, I don't want to waste time. It's not working for everybody involved in that situation. So I was like, I'm just going to say something and easy peasy, move that one to the side and on to something else. And it actually felt good.
It's liberating.
It's liberating. You know what it is? The longer you are in denial, the more it's on your back, and now it's weighing you down. And then more time goes on because you're thinking about it, because you're in denial, you're avoiding something. You're putting your energy into not dealing with it, which you don't realize it. It's heavier than dealing with it, right?
It's unconscious, and it eats away, and then it generalizes. So then somebody is unhappy over here and unhappy over there and unhappy over here. It's because it just causes an aura of discontent.
Yes. But the most important thing is us, what we're feeling. Honor what you're feeling. It's important.
Be straight up about it. There's nothing. Yeah, I don't see how anybody could go wrong.
Now I know. It takes time to figure that out. And with help of somebody like you. What's your website again?
Oh, my website is my name, Susan Engel -LCSW.com.
There is no denying in my world. Love talking with you. You brought that word here, and right away I'm like, oh, that's a good word to focus on. Like we all do it. I'm glad we talked about it, kind of dissecting the reasons why. And
we only scratched the surface.
I know.
I mean, I'm sure we could go in 1,000 different conversations with this. Yeah.
I'm satisfied. We looked at different angles in a good way. It's not
succinct way.
25 minutes or less.
25 minutes or less.
Yep.
We don't have to be superfluous.
No.
Do we?
Confrontation should be communication. That's what I'm riding by today.
Confrontation could be communication. Confrontation could be a conversation. I don't get the confrontation part. That's just the fear in the person.
That's what I'm saying. Yep. We'll talk soon. Appreciate it.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.